Hello everybody, just thought I'd run you through one of my favourite chicken recipes, especially for winter. It's starting to get a little bit chilly in Sydney now, so this is one of my favourite kind of go-to recipes. And I'm also going to show you how to do it in a slow cooker. So this recipe is actually in my Inflammation Transformation recipe ebook. You can get that for free off my website, but the recipe in the ebook isn't the slow cooker version. So I just thought I'd kind of run you through how to cook it in a slow cooker. Okay, so I've prepped everything that I can in terms of the veggies, and I've got all of these products out ready to show you what to do. And so the first thing we want to do is heat up the slow cooker. So I'll just turn it on. Okay, so I've got it on the brown/sear function. So obviously we want to kind of, I want to brown up the onions and I want to brown up the chicken before I put it onto a kind of simmer or a slow cook. So that's what we'll do first. So as you can see, I've got all of the veggies chopped here. So we'll start with the onion and the garlic, and that gets kind of cooked, browned for about 5 or 6 minutes, and that gets done in coconut oil. So I tend to use the hard kind of version of coconut oil, but you can also use the liquid MCT oil. Once the onion and the garlic are browned, as I said, 5 or 6 minutes, then we start adding in the other spices. So we'll be using cumin and paprika, or instead of paprika you can use cayenne pepper. I'll also put in a small red chili. Now I don't actually have a small red chili, so I'm going to use this Master Foods chili instead. It's kind of a mashed up version, a crushed version, so I'll be using that instead. And then we also put in some ginger. Again, I don't have any fresh ginger, so I'm going to use this crushed version. It's better if you have fresh. And also, one of the key things that really makes this dish pop is lime. So not only do we use the inside of the lime, but we also use the zest. So I've got my grater ready, and that's really one of the major components of this dish. So we'll be putting in a zest of 1 lime, and then we cook that and brown that for another kind of 5 or 6 minutes. Now once that's done, then we can put our chicken pieces in. We brown those on the outside so it's kind of half cooked, so you still want it to be a little bit pink in the middle, and then you can toss in the rest of the veggies. So the recipe asks for capsicum, broccoli, mushrooms, and I think that's it. You've already put the onion in. I like to put some carrot in though too, but you can put in whatever you want, maybe cauliflower, zucchini, whatever kind of you feel works or you've got left in the fridge. And once the veggies are in, then we put the liquid in to allow it to kind of cook. So that includes the coconut milk. So I've got that here. Coconut cream, coconut milk, whatever you have. And then we have water. So you put in as much water as you need to, depending on how thick the coconut milk is. And then we also have the coconut aminos. So I use this amazing gingery lime version. I actually get it from the US from iHerb, but if you don't want to bother doing that, then you can just get the plain old coconut aminos from any kind of health food store, or even supermarkets sell it now. And the recipe also calls for coconut fish sauce. Again, I don't have that on hand, so I'm just going to double up on the coconut aminos. We also need bone broth. So the recipe calls for stock or bone broth, but it's assuming that it's already made up in the liquid form, and I have this concentrated version. So I'll just be using a similar kind of quantity based on what this tells me to use. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, we want to put 2 tablespoons of coconut oil in. So just grab 2 tablespoons. One. And that's 2. Okay, so just let that kind of melt in there. And then I'll just put the onion in. Bit of a stir. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to brown, and while it's browning, I'm going to chop my chicken. Okay, so that's done. So now I'm going to put in the garlic. So that onion's browning up quite nicely. Got the garlic just kind of already crushed, and I'll throw that in. Smells pretty good. Okay, so we've added in the garlic. Now we'll put in 1 tablespoon of ginger. As I said, fresh is always better, but I'm just working with what I've got at the moment. So 1 tablespoon of ginger. We want to put in a teaspoon of red chilli. So just do this to taste. We like hot food, so I might put in a little bit extra. We also want to put in the other spices. So I'll take the lids off these. Okay, so we want to do 1 teaspoon. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of each, even though the recipe says half a teaspoon of paprika. It's not particularly hot, so I'd rather put in some extra flavour. That's the cumin. The paprika. Might give it a bit of a stir. Now there's lots of flavours coming out of here now. Okay. That's good. And last but not least is the lime zest. So just give this a bit of a rub to make it a bit soft. And I'm going to use, the grater, the small part of the grater, to just zest this lime. Okay, so we'll give it a stir. All right, now I just want to let that cook for another 5 minutes or so. I'd actually put a little bit more oil in because it's getting a little bit dry. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes now, so I'm going to throw in the chicken. So just use your knife to throw that in. And again, just give it a stir, but now you want to coat the chicken pieces in the sauce that was already in there, or in the mixture. It's not really a sauce, it's quite thick. Just make sure you keep turning it so that the pink sides get cooked. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sit for a couple of minutes and then I'll come back to it. Okay, so just come back to it and just keep turning over the chicken pieces so that the pink sides are actually next to the heat. Okay, so that's been cooking for a few minutes now, so I'll add in the veggies and the liquid. So they all can go in at the same time. And then just mix all that up. Make sure the veggies get a bit of a coat. And then we can put in our coconut milk, which, as I said, because it's getting cold, it's going to be, it's not too bad actually. I thought it might be harder, but it's actually quite soft. So I'll just be stick that in. Now, that wasn't very liquidy, so I'm going to put in maybe half a cup of water. I'm going to mix all that up to coat all of the veggies. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So you really just want the coconut milk to kind of dissolve into or mix with the water, and then you want the veggies to be sitting mostly below the line of that water and coconut milk mixture so that it will cook. So that looks like it's nicely mixed. So now we can put in our bone broth. So I'm going to put in maybe a tablespoon. So this bone broth is turmeric and ginger, so it's going to give it even more flavour. You can put in just the plain bone broth. You can use stock instead. It's really up to you. If you don't have any of that, you could just use water and just season it, at least with salt, but probably salt and pepper is a good idea. Okay, so that's in. Woo. Very strong flavour. Okay. So just make sure that bone broth is mixed around so that everything's getting that flavour. And then last but not least, well, actually I've still got to put the lime in, but from the other perspective, we want to put in this coconut aminos. Now, as I said, I don't have fish sauce, so I'm just going to double up on the aminos. So the recipe calls for 1.5 tablespoons of this and 1 tablespoon of, sorry, the other way around, 1.5 tablespoons of fish sauce and 1 tablespoon of this. So I'll put 2.5 tablespoons all up. So we'll just tip this in. Okay, that's about right. Give it another mix. Okay, so now I'm finished. I'm going to put it on the simmer option, and it's going to simmer for, I'm going to put it on for 20 minutes and press start. So that's going to simmer for another 20 minutes. Now remember that the chicken is mostly cooked, and so now it's just about the chicken being finished off and also the veggies being cooked through. So it doesn't take that much longer. You could also put it on a slow cooker function, but I would suggest that you put it on the low function for maybe only an hour. I don't think it needs all that much because, as I said, it's already been partially cooked. So let me know what you think. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.